The set was loud that day. Too loud. The lights were hot, the cameras heavy, and the air felt sharp with tension. Gosh, everyone was rushing. Grips, moving cables, makeup artists fixing details, and the director shouting instructions like time was slipping through his fingers. But among all that noise, one moment stood still like a crack in glass. Ana de Armas sat in a corner, holding her script. She was wearing a soft beige sweater and dark jeans. Nothing fancy, but her eyes looked far away. Something in her hands trembled, but only a little, like a leaf in wind.
Ow.
No one noticed. Or maybe they did and chose not to. Keanu Reeves stood near the edge of the set, calm, still. He watched everything quietly like he always did. His energy was different from the chaos. He didn't speak much, didn't need to. When he moved, people noticed. When he paused, they waited. And when he looked toward Ana, his brow furrowed. Just slightly. The scene they were about to shoot was emotional. The script called for a heated argument. A moment where Ana's character was supposed to feel small, so the director wanted it real. Too real. "Ana," the director yelled, waving. His hand looked afraid. "You're supposed to flinch. Feel it."
Do you understand?
She nodded, her smile weak, her eyes down. They rehearsed once. The second take was rough. The third rougher. The fourth, something changed. Cut. Again, the director snapped. Louder this time. "Come on, Ana, don't just stand there like a statue. You're supposed to be vulnerable." Ana looked up. Nodded again, but slower. She tried to focus. The scene started. The camera rolled. The room quieted except for the sound of lines being delivered. Keanu stepped into frame. His tone was sharp, just like the script said. He raised his voice, not out of anger, but out of the role he was playing. He shouted his line with power. Ana flinched. But it wasn't the kind the director had asked. For this one was real, deep, raw, instinctive. Her eyes widened. Her shoulders pulled back as if she had just been hit by something unseen. And in that split second, the room shifted. The director clapped. Yes, that's it. But Keanu wasn't clapping. He wasn't smiling. His eyes stayed on Ana. She didn't look up. She looked at the floor. And then without a word, Keanu stepped out of frame. He didn't say cut. He didn't ask for permission. Just walked past the lights, past the cameras, past everyone. Silence fell. Ana looked up, confused. The director frowned. "Keanu, what are you doing?" Keanu turned back slowly. The voice was quiet, but it cut through the room like wind through dry leaves. "She flinched," he said. The director chuckled. "Yeah, that was the point." "No," Keanu replied. "That wasn't the point. That wasn't acting. That was pain." No one moved. No one spoke. Ana's eyes filled with tears. Keanu stepped closer, not to the director, but to her. You okay?" he asked softly. Ana nodded, but it wasn't a strong nod. It was the kind people give when they want to say yes, but everything inside them says no. Keanu looked at the crew, and back at the director. "I'm not doing the scene." "Again," he said. "Not like this." The director threw his hands in the air. "This is a film, not a therapy session." Keanu didn't argue. He just turned and walked off the set again, this time slower. This time with purpose. Ana watched him go. Something broke inside her. Not in a bad way, in a freeing way. Like the moment when you stop holding your breath after too long. After that, the crew paused. The director muttered under his breath. Someone whispered that maybe they should take a break. Ana stayed sitting. The assistant director brought her a bottle of water. She didn't open it. She just held it. Minutes passed. Then a quiet voice came behind her. "You don't have to stay here, Ana," it said. She turned. It was Keanu. He had returned, but not to act. "Not yet. Do you want to go somewhere quiet?" Yes, she hesitated, then nodded. Outside the studio, the sun was beginning to set. They walked along the edge of the lot, past trailers and cables, and old sets half torn down. The noise was gone. Only wind and footsteps remained. They sat on a bench near the edge of the property. Ana looked at her hands. "I didn't think anyone noticed," she said. Keanu looked straight ahead. I did. She was quiet. I wasn't afraid of the scene, she said. I was afraid of remembering. He nodded. Then let's forget for a little while. The wind blew gently. Her shoulders relaxed. For the first time that day, she didn't feel alone. Thank you, she whispered. Keanu finally looked at her. Don't have to thank me. You deserve to be safe. A long silence followed. Not awkward. Not forced. Just peaceful and in. That silence, Anna felt something she hadn't felt in weeks. Respect. Real. Quiet. Strong respect. That night, the director called Keanu, frustrated. Said they had wasted hours. Said the budget couldn't handle delays. Said actors needed to toughen up. Keanu listened, then said something simple. You can recast me if you want, but I won't act beside pain pretending to be art. He hung. Anna never knew about that call, but when she showed up the next morning, she found a small note on her dressing room mirror. It said, "You are not weak for feeling. You are strong for surviving." She touched the paper gently, eyes misty again. On set, no one yelled that day. People moved softer. The director didn't raise his voice, and Anna. She smiled for the first time in days. But what she didn't know, not yet, was that her smile wasn't just because she felt safe. It was because someone finally saw her. Not as a character, not as a star, but as a human being. Someone who stood up when the world stayed seated. Someone like Keanu, in that small moment, would change everything. The next morning felt different. Anna arrived early. Too early. The sun wasn't even up yet, and the lot was still quiet. She walked slowly toward her trailer, her bag over one shoulder, coffee in hand. The air was cold, the kind of cold that wakes you up before your thoughts catch up. She opened the trailer door and stepped inside. There, on the table, was a small paper bag. No name, no message, just a warm bag of pastries and a small cup of tea. She looked around. No one, just stillness. But she knew it was him. Keanu, her eyes softened. Her lips turned slightly upward. It was the first real smile she had felt, not just worn. On set, the mood was careful. The crew moved with quiet steps. The director kept his tone even. The usual rush had been replaced by something slower. It's not lazy, just thoughtful. People glanced at Anna, but not in the same way. They didn't stare like before. They didn't look at her like someone fragile or broken. They looked at her like someone who had gone through something. And still showed up. Keanu was already there. He stood near the lights, reading his lines softly under his breath, his face calm, but his eyes always scanning. When Anna walked in, their eyes met. He gave a small nod. She returned it, and that was enough. But there was one man on set who wasn't happy about the change. Brent, the second assistant director, thought things were getting too soft. He believed pressure made diamonds. He liked pushing people, not out of cruelty, but because he thought that's how greatness was made. He walked over to the director and whispered, "You're losing control." The director didn't reply. Brent glanced at Anna, then at Keanu. "You're letting an actor run your set," he muttered. Still no answer. But Brent had made up his mind. If no one else would bring the old energy back, he would. Later that day, they were filming a simple scene. No shouting. No drama. Just a quiet conversation between Anna and Keanu's characters. Anna sat at a table, her hands folded. Keanu leaned against the wall across from her. Soft music played in the background. The mood was gentle, but just as the camera rolled, someone dropped a metal pole behind the scenes, loud, sharp. Anna flinched again. She didn't cry, she didn't shake, but she froze. It wasn't an accident. It came from behind the set. From Brent, Keanu's single quote's eyes snapped toward the sound. He didn't move. Not yet, but his jaw clenched. The director called, "Cut." Anna stood slowly and walked off set, this time. She didn't hide her face. She walked straight to her trailer, her back straight but her steps heavy. Keanu followed. When he reached the trailer, he didn't knock, he just stood outside. "Anna," he said gently, "you don't have to come out. Just wanted you to know it wasn't your fault." There was silence. Then the door opened. She looked at him, her face tired. "I know it wasn't," she said. "But I still feel like it was." Keanu stepped closer. "Can I ask you something?" She nodded. Double quotes. "How long have you been carrying?" This she blinked. "Carrying what?" "That flinch," he said. "It didn't start yesterday." Anna looked down. Her lips parted, but no words came out for a few seconds. Then she whispered, "Since I was 15. Keanu didn't speak. He just waited. "My stepfather used to yell," she continued. "Never touched me, never hit me, but his voice was like thunder. It never stopped. Always something wrong. It's always something broken. Always my fault." She paused. "I learned to be quiet, to not make noise, to not ask questions." Keanu nodded slowly. "Now you're here." "On sets where people shout and demand and expect, and I keep flinching," she said, "and I hate it." Keanu's voice was soft. "Don't hate it. It's not weakness. It's memory. And memory doesn't leave just because you want it to." She looked at him. "But it makes me feel small." He shook his head. "It makes you human." She exhaled. A long, heavy breath. "Do you want to go back today?" he asked. Anna looked toward the lot, then back at Keanu. "Yes," she said. "But only if you walk with me," he smiled gently. "Always." They returned to the set together. This time, the crew noticed people moved aside. Not in fear, but in quiet respect. And Brent. He stood near the monitors, arms crossed, pretending he didn't care, but Keanu saw him. And this time, Keanu walked straight up to him. "Did you drop the pole?" he asked, calm but direct. Brent shrugged. "Things fall." "Not like that," Keanu said. Brent smirked. "You're just being soft." Keanu leaned in closer. "Kindness is not weakness," he said. "If you ever try something like that again, I won't just walk off the set. I'll make sure the world knows what you did." Brent's smirk faded. "Are you threatening me?" he asked. "No," Keanu said. "I'm protecting someone. There's a difference." Then he walked away. That evening, the scene was shot again, quiet, gentle, and true. Anna didn't flinch. This time her hands were steady, her voice clear, and when the director called cut, said nothing more. Just nodded. Later that night, Anna sat alone near the back of the lot, staring at the stars above the city. The sky was dark, but peaceful. Keanu joined her, carrying 2 cups of tea. He handed one to her. They didn't speak at first, just sipped and watched the sky. Then Anna said, "I used to think I had to hide everything. All the fear, all the pain. I thought no one would care, or worse, they'd use it." Keanu nodded. "Most people do hide it, but you didn't," she said. "Saw it." "I've seen it before," he replied. "I've lived through it too." She looked at him. "You?" He nodded once. "Different stories, same weight." Anna looked back at the sky. "Thank you," she said again. Keanu smiled. "You don't have to thank me. Just promise me something." "What?" "Don't ever feel ashamed for flinching. It means you've survived." Anna's eyes filled again, this time not from pain, from healing, quiet, slow, real. And just like that, the bond between them grew deeper. Not as Kodash stars, not as names on posters, but as humans, as souls who understood what silence hides and how. One small act of kindness can become the first step out of darkness. Anna arrived on set the next day with a scarf wrapped gently around her neck, not because it was cold, but because it gave her comfort. It reminded her of her mother. Soft fabric, soft memories. The sun was warm, but her thoughts were still quiet as she walked past the trailers. Crew members nodded respectfully. No forced smiles, no awkward stares. They had started to see her differently now, not just the actress with pretty lines and strong scenes, but the woman behind them. A woman who didn't crumble even when something inside her had cracked. Keanu was already there, sitting on the steps of the production trailer, reading a book. His black shirt sleeves were rolled up, and his hair was tucked behind his ears. He looked peaceful, like the chaos of the world had no place near him. When he saw her, didn't get up. He simply looked up, gave her a warm smile, and said, "Good morning." Anna returned the smile. "Morning. You sleep okay?" he asked. "A little better," she said. "I kept hearing that pole drop in my dreams. Dreams echo loudest when we try to sleep in silence." Anna sat beside him. "That's a poetic way to put it. I think we all have echoes," he said. "Some people run from them. Others listen." Anna looked at him, a question in her eyes. "What do you do?" she asked. He looked at the sky. "I try to listen, but some days I still run." Before she could respond, the first assistant called out, "Rehearsal in 10. Keanu stood slowly, closed his book, and offered. His hand, she took it. Inside the soundstage, the lights were lower than usual. The scene was a dream sequence, a quiet moment between two people remembering something that never truly happened. It wasn't scripted with shouting or pain. It was written with silence. With space, Anna stood at the center of the room. Her hands were open, her breathing calm. Keanu walked toward her in slow steps, his eyes fixed gently on hers. As they rehearsed, something shifted. Not in the lines, not in the movements. In the silence between words, it felt real, not acted real. When they finished the rehearsal, the room stayed quiet. The director said nothing for a long time. Then he finally spoke, his voice lower than usual. "That was best scene we've done so far." Anna smiled softly. Keanu just nodded, but not everyone was pleased. Brent watched from behind the monitors, arms crossed. The softness on set was making him uneasy. He believed that tension was the key to great art, and he didn't like how Keanu was becoming the quiet leader everyone followed. That afternoon, Brent found a way to take control again. He approached. "The director? We need to reshoot the argument scene," he said. The director looked confused. "Why? We already got it." "Not the way we wanted," Brent insisted. "We need more fire, more energy." Anna was uncomfortable, the director reminded him. "Then we work around it," Brent said. "Make her push herself. It'll be worth it," the director hesitated. Brent leaned closer. "You said you wanted awards, didn't you?" By the next morning, the scene was added to the schedule again. The argument scene, the one where Anna had flinched. When she saw the call sheet, she froze. Keanu noticed right away. "You okay?" he asked. She handed him the paper silently. He read it. His expression didn't change. His eyes darkened, just slightly. Anna took a deep breath. "Maybe it's okay. Maybe I need to face it. Not like this," he said. "I want to try," she said softly. "I don't want to be afraid of scenes anymore." Keanu looked at her for a long moment. "Then I'll be there," he said. "And if it gets too much, just look at me." The set was quiet when they started. The crew moved. Slowly, the lights were dimmed. The cameras ready. Anna stood on her mark. Keanu stepped into place. Brent watched behind the screen. The director gave the signal. Action. The scene began. Keanu single quotes his character. His character shouted in pain, in heartbreak, just like the script. Anna's character was supposed to back away, look scared. But this time Anna didn't flinch. She stood her ground. Her eyes were wide, but steady. Her voice cracked, but didn't break. She delivered her line with trembling strength. "You don't get to decide who I am anymore." And then she turned away. The scene ended. Cut. The director whispered, but no one moved. Everyone was still. Anna felt her knees weaken just slightly. She sat down before she could fall. Keanu was by her side in seconds. He knelt next to her and whispered, "You didn't flinch." Anna looked up, her face shining with a tear. "I still heard it in my head," she whispered, "but I didn't move." He nodded. "That's strength." The crew clapped softly, not loudly, just enough to say, "We saw that. Respect that." But in the shadows behind the monitor, Brent frowned. His plan hadn't worked. And now, people were listening more to Keanu than to him. That evening, Keanu found a folded paper on his chair. No name, just 4 words, scribbled in messy handwriting. "She's holding you back." He read it once, then tore it in half. He didn't show Anna, not because he was hiding it from her, but because he knew it wasn't about her at all. It was about someone afraid of losing power. He looked around the set. People were laughing, moving kindly, working together, and for the first time in a long time, he felt something rare on a movie set. Peace Anna joined him with 2 cups of warm tea. "What's that?" she asked, noticing the torn paper in his hand. "Nothing." "Worth saving," he said with a small smile. She sat beside him. "You didn't have to walk out that day," she said quietly. "Most people wouldn't have. And most people are missing the point," he replied. She looked at him with soft, grateful eyes. And as the sun went down over the lot, she whispered something almost too quiet to hear. "Thank you for seeing me." He didn't reply. He just reached out, gently squeezed his hand. The air felt warmer on set, not because of the weather, but because of the way people moved now. Everything was quieter, softer. The crew helped each other without being asked. The makeup team smiled more. The sound guy shared headphones with the lighting girl. It was like something heavy had been lifted from the set, even if no one talked about it out loud. Anna walked in that morning with a book in one hand and a water bottle in the other. She wore a light gray hoodie and no makeup. She looked peaceful, not fully healed, stronger. Keanu was already there, standing by the monitors, talking to the director. They weren't arguing. They were just speaking, low and calm. Like 2 people who respected each other but didn't always agree. Anna caught part of the conversation. "We need to rethink how we do emotional scenes," Keanu was saying. "Not just for her, for everyone." Director nodded. "We'll talk to the writers." Anna stepped closer. Keanu turned and gave her a gentle smile. "Morning," he said. "Good talk?" she asked. "It's getting better," he said, slowly. Anna took a breath. "Thank you. For fighting for it?" "You're worth it," Keanu said simply. Anna felt her chest tighten. But not from fear, from something else. Hope. But not everything had changed. Brent was still watching. He stayed quiet now. Mostly stayed out of Keanu's way. Done. He believed that sets weren't supposed to be soft. Believed in pushing people until they broke and called it art. And today, he had a new plan. It started with a fake smile. "Anna," he said as she passed him. "Can I talk to you for a second?" She hesitated, then nodded. They stepped aside behind a curtain wall near the props. Brent leaned in, voice low. "I just wanted to say, you're doing great." Anna nodded slowly. But he continued. "You've got to stop leaning on Keanu so much." Her eyes narrowed. "What do you mean?" "I mean," he said, smiling tightly. "People are starting to talk. They think you can't handle the pressure without him. You don't want that kind of reputation, do you?" Anna didn't speak. "You're better than that," he said. "Stand on your own. Don't let him take all the credit." She felt something. Cold in her stomach. "Is that all?" she asked. "Just friendly advice," he said. "From someone who wants to see you succeed." She walked away without another word, but her thoughts were spinning. Was he right? Was she leaning too much? Was she weak? When she sat on the edge of the set, Keanu noticed her silence right away. "You okay?" She didn't answer. He waited, finally. She said, "Do you think I'm only doing better because of you?" Keanu blinked. "What?" Someone said, "Maybe I'm not as strong as I think. Maybe I'm just hiding behind you." He looked at her for a long time. His voice was soft but sure. "You faced your past. You showed up after flinching. You stood through a scene that once broke you. And you're asking me if that's weakness." I know. Looked down, it made me wonder. Keanu leaned closer. "Anna, I didn't carry you. I just stood beside you. That's all. You did the rest." A long pause, then she said, "Thank you." He smiled. "Stop thanking me." She laughed, the sound light, but real. But Brent wasn't done yet. Later that afternoon, while everyone prepared for a night scene, the rumor started spreading that Anna was being difficult behind the scenes, that she was slowing the shoot, that she was getting special treatment. Whispers, quiet ones, but dangerous by the time Anna walked into makeup. 3 people had already heard it. One of them asked, "Are you okay?" Another, avoided her eyes. Anna felt it. Something was changing again, and not in a good way. She found Keanu near the wardrobe truck. "There's a rumor," she said quietly, "that I'm a problem." Keanu's jaw tightened. "Who said it? Does it matter?" she asked. "Yes," he said, "because lies don't grow on their own." She looked at him. "Now what do I do?" He thought for a moment. "You let your work speak," he said. "You show up, you stay kind, and you keep shining. The truth always finds a way through shadows." She nodded, but later that night, after shooting the rooftop scene, Anna sat alone by the staircase. Her eyes were red, her hands were still. Keanu found her again. "What happened?" he asked gently. "I overheard 2 crew members," she said. "They think I'm fragile. They said I'm only getting scenes because of you." Keanu sat beside her. "You don't have to prove anything to people who don't know your story." "Duh." "I want to," she said. "I want them to see I'm not just someone to protect. I'm someone who's still here." He nodded. "Then we'll keep showing them." The next day, Anna made a quiet decision. She started arriving earlier than everyone else. She stayed on set longer. She memorized her scenes, helped the crew, and never complained. Not out of pride, out of quiet strength. And slowly, things shifted. Again, people noticed. Whispers faded. And one morning, the director called the entire team before shooting. He stood in front of everyone, took a breath, and said, "I want to say something." The room fell silent. "I've worked on a lot of films," he said. "But what I've seen here, this shift, the way people have started treating each other, it matters." I looked at Anna, and that started with her. Anna froze. Not because she shouted, not because she demanded, but because she showed up, even when it was hard, even when she was hurt. And because one of us, he glanced at Keanu, reminded us that being kind doesn't make you soft. Keanu didn't move. Anna just stared. Then the director added, "We are lucky to have you both." The crew clapped. Real claps. Loud ones. Brent didn't join in, but he didn't speak either that night. Anna stood outside her trailer looking at the stars again. Keanu walked over with 2 cups of tea. They didn't say much, just sat. But then Anna said quietly, "I think I'm finally starting to believe I'm strong." Keanu smiled. "You always were." Anna looked at him. "You still see me?" she asked. He nodded. "Always." And in that quiet moment, without a single camera rolling, something more powerful than any film scene was captured. A moment of truth, of healing, of respect. 2 weeks had passed. Anna no longer walked onto the set with nervous eyes. Her steps were steady now. Her voice didn't shake when she spoke. She greeted the crew with soft smiles. She laughed quietly during breaks. Something in her had changed. Not into someone new, but into someone more whole. Keanu noticed it. He didn't say anything about it, not directly. But every time he looked at her, there was a soft pride in his eyes. Anna was becoming herself again, but behind the scenes Brent was watching. Always watching. The more respected Anna became, the more ignored he felt. He believed this set used to run on power, while it ran on kindness. And that to him felt weak. So he made one last plan. The final scene of the film was scheduled to shoot. Soon, it was an emotional ending, the 2 characters reuniting after years apart. The script had been rewritten to allow a soft, peaceful ending. But Brent wanted more drama. He went to the director one night with a new idea. "What if," he said, "we make the final scene explosive? Something raw. Something where Anna's character breaks down, really breaks down." The director frowned. "Oh, we already shot half of the ending with the softer version. We can reshoot it," Brent pushed. "Audiences want impact. They want pain, tears, screaming. A perfect arc." The director hesitated. Brent added, "Look, you've already made her a symbol. I'll let her break. Make it powerful. Make it unforgettable." The director finally gave in. A new version of the final scene was written. It called for emotional collapse. a scene where Anna's character would cry uncontrollably and beg not to be left alone. A moment of deep desperation. No one told Anna until the day of the shoot. When she received the new script pages, she froze. She read the lines once, then twice, then closed the folder and sat still. Keanu saw her from across the set. He walked over and gently asked, "What's wrong?" She handed him the new script. He read it quickly, then looked up at her. "You don't have to do this," he said. "But it's the ending," Anna replied. "What choice do I have?" "You always have a choice," he said. "This isn't about acting anymore. It's about who controls the story." Anna looked at the floor. "What if I say no, and they replace me?" Keanu thought for a moment, then said, "If they replace you for standing up for yourself, then it was never your story to begin with." Anna looked into his eyes. "Will you stay beside me?" "Always," he said. They went to the director together. Anna spoke first. "I'm not comfortable with this ending," she said calmly. "I think the original one fits the characters better. This version feels ... forced." The director rubbed his forehead. "It's more emotional, no," Keanu said. "It's more manipulative." Brent said. "Brent doesn't speak for the story," Keanu interrupted. "He speaks for his ego." Anna looked at the director. "If you want me to act from a place of pain, it has to be true. And this isn't my truth." The director studied her for a long moment, then slowly nodded. "Double quotes, we go with the original ending," said. Anna exhaled. Keanu placed a gentle hand on her shoulder, but Brent wasn't done. Later that evening, as the sun dipped behind the studio walls, Brent approached Anna alone. His voice was low and sharp. "Congrats," he said. "You've officially taken over this set." Anna turned to face him. "No," she replied. "I just found my voice." "You're not special," he snapped. "You're just loud." Anna didn't flinch. "You don't get to decide how I heal." She said, "You don't get to decide what kind of woman I am." Brent stepped closer. "Keanu won't always be there to save you." Anna didn't blink. "He didn't save me," she said. "He reminded me I was worth saving. I did the rest." And with that, she turned and walked away. That night, they shot the original ending. The scene was quiet. Keanu's character sat on a bench in the rain. Anna's character walked up, holding an umbrella. They didn't speak much, just a soft conversation about time, about love, about forgiveness. No shouting, no breakdowns, just peace. And when the director called cut, the crew stood in silence, then clapped. Not because it was over, but because it felt right. The moment felt honest, true. Later, Anna stood under the stars. Once more, Keanu handed her a cup of warm tea like he always did. She smiled. "We made it," she whispered. He nodded. "We made it." "I didn't think I could," she admitted. "That's what strength is," he said. "Doing it anyway." She looked up at him, her voice soft. "Thank you." He chuckled. "You promised you'd stop thanking me." "Then let me say this," she said. "You didn't just see me. You reminded me how to see myself." His eyes softened, and they stood there, quiet and calm. In a space that no longer felt heavy, Anna had faced her echoes, and finally, she was free. A few months later, the movie was finished. The posters went up, the trailer released. The internet buzzed with excitement. Fans talked about the chemistry between Keanu and Anna. They called it real, natural, deep, and it was because it came from something true. Not just acting, but healing. The film was called Before the Silence, a name Anna had quietly suggested during one of their long talks. The producers liked it. The studio approved. And when the final cut was shown to test audiences, something rare happened. People cried, not because the film was sad, but because it felt human, real. The premiere night arrived. Anna stood in front of the mirror in her hotel room, wearing a simple but elegant navy blue dress. Her hair fell softly over her shoulders. Her makeup was light. She didn't look like someone trying to impress. She looked like someone who had come home to herself. Keanu knocked at her door when she opened it. He stood there in a black suit, holding a small white flower. "For you," he said. Anna smiled. "What kind is it?" "Peace lily," he said. They survive through storms. Thank you, she said. You're welcome, he replied. They rode to the premiere together. Flashes from cameras lit the street as they stepped onto the carpet. Reporters asked questions. Fans screamed their names. But through it all, Anna stayed calm. Not because she wasn't nervous, but because she knew who she was now. After the film played, the crowd stood and applauded. Anna sat in her seat, breath held. Keanu leaned over and whispered, "They're not clapping for us. They're clapping for the truth." Anna blinked back tears after the premiere. People lined up to speak to her. Not just fans, actors, writers, even crew members. "Your performance was honest," one woman said. "I saw myself in you." "Thank you for showing what quiet strength looks like," said another. Anna smiled. Again and again, each time more deeply. Later that night, back at the hotel, she and Keanu sat out on the balcony. The city lights twinkled below. "Do you remember the first day I flinched?" she asked. "I do," he said. "I don't anymore," she whispered. "I only remember the day I didn't." Keanu smiled. "That's the day you took your story back." Anna turned toward him. "You've been quiet tonight, just listening," he said. "No. Sometimes the loudest moments come after the silence." She nodded. "Are you proud of me?" she asked. He looked at her. "I always was," he said, "but now, I think you're proud of you too." She let out a breath she hadn't realized she was still holding. "Yes," she said. "I am." Days turned into weeks. Interviews came and went. Articles were written. People praised the film, the cast, the message. But what they didn't see was the journey behind it. Anna knew that part was hers, and that made it sacred. One afternoon, Anna visited a film school. A student asked her, "How did you prepare for such an emotional role?" Anna thought for a long time, then she said, "I didn't prepare to feel pain. I prepared to face it. And when I did, I realized that strength isn't how loud you speak, it's how deeply you listen, especially to yourself." After the talk, the student gave her a small thank you card. Inside, it read, "I used to flinch too." Anna held the card close to her heart, not as a reminder of pain, but as a sign of how far she had come. And somewhere, on another set far away, someone yelled again, someone flinched, and someone else noticed. And maybe, just maybe, they stood up like Keanu once did. Because kindness has a ripple, and it keeps moving quietly, strongly, forever.